Hi everyone, my name is Simi, and today I'm going to be talking to you about working through your monologues. So this school year, I'm the president of the Dunbar Board and Youth Theatre Company, aka DBH. I am a current theatre minor at Johns Hopkins. I'm the president of DBH, and last fall I was involved in the production of Four Colored Girls at Hopkins, which we typically do every 4 years. And I'm just here to give you some tips and tricks on monologues because this semester DBH is putting together a collection of monologues as our fall production, and we're giving students the opportunity to choose from the monologues that we've put together, from the list of monologues we've put together, and they will be paired with the director and they will be able to work to make these monologues come to life. So basically for you all today I have 3 tips and tricks, and I hope you enjoy this video. My first trick is always to think very long and hard about who you are. And by who you are, I mean who's your character, what's their everyday, what are their values, where do they live, what is their context, like who is this person? Is this the type of person that just small everyday facts that you wouldn't find in the text? For example, does this person like rice or beans? Would this person rather take the bus or walk? Would this person rather purchase a bike or buy a car? What kind of person is this? What drives their actions? What drives their thoughts, really? And what is their vibe as a human being? Like, you have to really think about what the person likes, what the person is drawn to, their affinities, how their upbringing, their cultural context influences them in small and big ways. So in everyday ways, like how do they speak? What is their word choice? Are there certain words that this person likes to use often? Why is that? Is there a backstory behind that? If that's not in the text, you have to make that up. You really have to think about who am I as a person, the same way, and think of very specific things the same way. I would specifically say I, as a human being, my favorite color is pink. So when I'm, for example, doing my nails, I'm inclined to do pink, right? That's a very specific detail that you often won't get in your text. The playwright is unlikely going to say, give you a whole, 3-4 pager on who this character is. So oftentimes you're going to really have to make all of that up, or make like educated guesses that flow very well with what you've seen in the text. So go off, how do they speak? Where did they grow up? If you're making an unusual choice as regards something about them, something about their character, something about their personality, you're going to have to think about, for example, you're going to have to think about how you can support that and think of the backstory behind that. So if I say my character is a very lovely person, and she really, although she has strong morals, she's a thief, and that's why she's doing XYZ, I'm going to have to support that by saying, from the text, she did this and this, and she's a liar, and that's how I came to the conclusion that she's a thief. I'm gonna start that again. You have to think about very, very specific details, a lot of which you will have to make up by yourself. So you're going to be the person in charge of really filling in a lot of the gaps as to who your character is and why they are that way. There are a lot of different choices you're going to have as an actor or actress. You're going to be able to make up backstories to certain lines. You're going to make up backstories to certain actions that are going to justify them for you, because you have to fully believe that you are that person. Well, because you're going to have to believe, not fully, but at least like 80% in what you're saying as that character. And so you're going to have to really understand, who are you? If your character is a thief, for example, you're going to have to fully understand why they're a thief, and that might not be explicitly stated in the text. You're going to likely have to think about what's their socioeconomic status, and if they are wealthy and well off, when did this stealing start? Is it a habit? Is it some sort of escape? Is it a coping mechanism? What if it's a coping mechanism? What's the what are they trying to cope with? Is there any trauma that you're not aware of? Is there any backstory? If there's a backstory, okay, then you have to make up the backstory. the writer might say, for example, there was an absent parent, and then you're going to have to decide, okay, maybe the absent parent, was also a thief, and the child was brought up believing that they would never amount to more than the absent parent, and now they've picked this up, not necessarily as a way to. You have to think of that whole story by yourself and really situate yourself in that context and really fully understand and believe, not 100%, because that's not good for your mental health as an actor or actress, but you're going to have to believe whatever you think of. So number one question is, who are you? So I would say actionable points on this point is sit down with a pen and paper and just really try and write down some quick points about your character. So I would say, 1, where did they grow up and what is their upbringing? So those early days, what did that look like? 2, who are the closest people to you? What are they like? 3, look for any loaded statements, phrases. And you should really try and personalize every single statement and phrase. But there are some especially that give you a hint that there's something in the text that hasn't been fully described, and you have to look for all of those and really form stories around those. Your character doesn't like plants. Why? You have to have a reason for that. Your character hates beans but loves rice. Why? There has to be a story for that. And the story could be a funny story, it could be a sad story, but it has to be a story that's consistent with the plot and with what you already see on ground. And that story is going to exist in your head, and you're going to use that to convey the actual things that are in the text. So those are the first 3 things I said you should do. I would say the 4th thing you should think about is, what is their cultural context about how does the society around them now, how do they interact with that, right? Are they your orthodox person? Are they different? Why are they different? What makes them different or the same? Why do they hold those values? What do they think about others? What do others think about them? How does your character feel about those different relationships? And the 5th thing I would say about thinking about who is that character is just generally, like, if in one word, what is the vibe you get off that character? And I'm just saying, like, literally in one word. Like, it can be just like confused could be your word. Your word can be go-getter. Your word can be romantic. Your word can be, just one word that would characterize your entire character. And not to say that there's that one word would be an overarching theme in every single scene. I'm going to get to that in a minute, and it might not be an overarching theme in the entire monologue itself, but if you had one word for the vibe of the character that you feel that that character gives you, then write that down. Okay, so my second point, and this one is really important. I'm actually going in reverse order of importance, although these 3 points overall I'm giving you are important in and of themselves. This is my second point. Who are you talking to? Who is this monologue addressed to? As in, are you speaking to you being your character? Are you speaking to your parents? Are you speaking to your friends? Are you speaking to your boss? Are you speaking to your significant other? Are you speaking to yourself? Are you speaking to something that can't speak back to you? Are you speaking to the wall? Are you speaking to a tree? Are you speaking to a baby? Are you speaking to your child? You need to know, you need to decide as an actor who you are speaking to. Sometimes the text will say, the playwright would have said, this is the person you're referring to specifically. But at other times, it's more like a almost broad, general to the audience. So you have to decide as a character, who are these people to me, and what do I try not to give away my next point. Who are these people to me? What is our relationship? And why that's important is because obviously the way you're going to talk to your child is very different. Your mannerisms are going to be very different. Your tone is going to be very different from if you're talking to your boss. If you're talking to your boss, your tone is going to be very different from if you're talking to your significant other. Me saying to a significant other, please do this for me, right? I would say that entirely different than if I was asking my boss, who I'm very frustrated with, please do this for me. They're two entirely kind of different. They're the same line, but they're different kind of lines of thought. So really situate yourself with, who exactly are you speaking to? who is your audience, and you have to figure out also what is your relationship with this audience. Are you friendly? Are you formal? Is there a hostile relationship? What is, what is going on? What is the context of this conversation? Which will probably lead you to having to do some more research. Of course, always read the entire play twice, always. But doing some more research as to who, if I'm a teacher speaking to my students, for example, and I know that my character works in the inner city and she works with underprivileged children, I'm going to have to figure out, okay, what do children in that demographic that are 13, 14 years old, what do they usually talk about? How are they going to receive this? And who basically, you want to be as specific in your monologues as is humanly possible. You want to kind of hit the nail straight on the head as you're referring to things or places or people. You have to be as direct. It has to be as personal as is humanly possible, and that's why I'm asking all these who questions. My third and most important and essentially final point is, what do you want? You as a character, what do you want overall in that whole play? Because as I said, you must read the entire play twice. What does your character want in the entire play? And it can be something it's going to be, of course, a lot broader than what they want in one scene. In the entire play, a character can literally just be pursuing another character. They want their attention. This character wants this character's money. This character wants this character's backpack. It could also be attention, right? This character wants attention, period, not necessarily from other characters, but just like that is what they want. This character wants, I can go on forever. Everybody wants something. So you have to be very, very deliberate. What does your character want overall in the play? Then in the scene that your monologue is in, what does your character want in that scene? If the character is talking to a different character, think about, what does your character want their audience to do? So there's the aspect of what do they want, being, oh, she probably, or he probably, or they want XYZ character. They want their, let me just go with attention. They want their attention. Cool. But you as an actor now, you have to think, what do I want this person to do in order for me to know that I have their attention? You have to think of a tangible, actual action that somebody can actually do. For example, it's not enough for me to say my character wants attention. I have to think about, my character wants XYZ character to turn around physically, look me in the eye, and do exactly this. And it is up to you as the actor to decide that that's what you want the person to do, but you have to think of a very specific, very doable, and more or less kind of natural action. So that's one example in terms of attention. I could say my character wants this person's money, and what I want them to do as soon as I'm done saying this, my 2 cents, my monologue, so I want them to pick up their car keys, put me in the back of their car, and drive down to the bank and withdraw all their money. And the response I want in the heat of this moment is for them to get up. And I'm going to tune my tone, the words I'm using would have been the words I'm using, which are the words that are already written. You're not making up your own monologue, but the words that you're using that are already written, you're going to say those, convey those, maneuver those in a way that gets you exactly that action, that specific action that you want. And that action has to be something very tangible, something that another person on stage, or the audience that you're speaking to, or the inanimate object that you're speaking to can do for you. So I could be speaking to a tree about my frustrations in a class, and what I want is, I want that tree to just bend over and give me a book with all the answers to my midterm. That's kind of absurd, but you as an actor, you have to figure out exactly what you want, because when you want something, when you have an intent, when you are saying something and you have an immediate, tangible response in your mind, you tend to say them a lot more persuasively and a lot more directly. And that actually situates you a lot better in your character and who that is, because at this point, you should know who you are talking to, and what they want. And just as a quick recap, what you want is three things essentially. It's what your character wants overall, what your character wants in the scene, and then pick a specific action that you want, a specific response that you as the actor or actress wants to receive as confirmation that you've gotten what you want. Sometimes you'll never get that confirmation. Sometimes the person will never do it, which is unfortunate. But you have to do your best to make sure you get it. One acting exercise that I recommend in terms of just getting what you want is have a friend or a roommate, baby sister, cousin, parent, have them sit down, right? And do a couple of runs of your monologue. So have them sit down in front of you and you deliver that monologue to them. Of course, give them some context, tell them who they are, tell them what your relationship with them is. You can even hold off on all that information until after the first time. You can ask them to kind of give you the vibe of what they're getting off you. But the general gist is have something that you want them to do, right? Tell them what it is, right? Like it could be, I'm talking to you about XYZ feelings as a character. What I really want you to do as a result is to take this pasta and put it in the pot and boil it. And put some water in it and boil the pasta, because my monologue is about you never doing anything for me, and this is the one thing I want you to do for me. Put the pasta in their hands. Tell them, the more I persuade you, the more you feel what I'm saying, the more you can strongly see why you should do this, the more inclined you are to do XYZ thing as a result of what I am saying, the more you are getting truthful, specific, real vibes from me. Do the thing I want you to do. So, and just take note of, first of all, how far they get. So the whole pasta example, they might break the pasta the first time you do it. The second time you do it, they might break it and put it in the pot. The third time, they might put water in it. They might never boil it. Hopefully they will, because you'll be getting better. But the point is to practice with that one person in front of you, so who is giving you a response in real time. And the more you do that, the easier it will start to become slowly to know and to be able to imagine what exactly it is that you want, and to work at it, even if you're not getting a response. And I do have to say this, even if you're not getting a response, work hard at it. If someone is not responding the way you want them to respond, in the heat of the moment, because that happens in real life, right? We notice we're not getting the response we want, we stop and we change tactic. That can be one thing you do, is that you stop and you decide, yelling at her isn't working. You calm down and you're like, all right, please help me out with this, blah, blah, blah. So really try and make it as specific as you can with what you want. You're welcome to change tactics. Just a quick acting note, a lot of the things you try will not be great, and that's okay too. The point is to keep trying and keep pushing and making sure that you are, just being as truthful as you can to your character, as truthful as you can to the story, and pushing yourself, performing in front of a live audience, i.e. your parents, your siblings, your cousins, your friends via Zoom, whoever, your director, which you will have if you're in a DBH monologue, whoever you have around you that can respond to you in some way in real time. That's kind of what you want to do. That's the person that you wanna call. But those are the three main tips as to monologues. Side tips, of course, be off book as quickly, as fast as is possible. My recommendation with getting off book is record yourself saying the monologue, and just play that recording in your free time and try and speak along to it. That would be very helpful. And once you're off book, start really working on it. Acting is a process of learning, unlearning, and relearning. So you always learn your lines one way, then you unlearn them because oftentimes you forget your lines, and then you relearn them in character with intent, with context. And it's a layering process. You learn more and more and more and more and more and more about your character. So learning your lines is number one, because there's no show if you don't know your lines. And number two, of course, is doing that research to answer these three questions that I've given you about who you are, who you're talking to, and what you want. And what you want obviously comes out of who you are, which is why I ordered it in a certain way, even though I think the importance is almost the reverse. But if the play is set in the 1900s, what did women then wear? Would you be able to express yourself now if you were wearing the clothes that women in that time wore? Really try and situate like as specific as you can be. What would my hair look like? Would I wear earrings? Would I have this cute little bracelet? Such questions. All right, well, thank you for tuning in and for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope this was informative and educative. I really am interested and excited to see what everybody working with DBH this semester produces. We are super excited to have all of you work with us. If you are interested in performing one of our monologues or just generally being on the production team for our monologue, please feel free to contact us on Instagram or Facebook at DBH Theater. You can email us at dbhtheater@gmail.com, and you can check out our website, which will be linked below. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, thumbs up is like, right? I think that's how YouTube is. And share. And we will see you next time.